So hi everyone, we have Manas Mahajan and he's made us proud last year and we are again with him. He scored a very handsome rank in CLAT and also appeared for other entrance exam. Let's welcome Manas on board. Welcome to News Canvas again. Manas, how are you feeling?
I'm good, ma'am. I hope you're well.
I'm great too. And I always miss students who, respect us a lot and who brought laurels to News Canvas. Since CLAT is just around the corner, there are hardly 10 days left and students are so anxious as to what to do. They might have prepared a lot, but they feel that they've not done anything. Any special, strategy that you might have adopted in the last 10 days of your CLAT exam last year when you appeared, especially with respect to current affairs?
So first of all, thank you very much, ma'am, for having me again. And on this, I would say that a small caveat before I start, everyone has their own strategy. So what worked for me might not work for you. So if you feel that you are doing something differently, you must not think, okay, oh, if this guy is doing it and he has cleared these exams, so this is the only way and I'm doing something wrong. If something works for you, stick to it, because that is what will get you results. So now, first of all, a lot of doubts which I've been getting from random people is, how do I score 30 plus in this section? How do I score 25 plus? How do I score full marks? I think it is practically impossible to score full marks in GK section until and unless if it was, maybe a fluke or you might have a very good day. No one scores 100% or even a 95, rarely a 90% in the exams. You only need the basic bare minimum to get your total score above the cutoffs to clear the exam. That's it. So don't rush after the highest score. And I've written down a few pointers which I intend to cover, so I'm not cheating.
Okay. Sure.
So it's simple. No one gets 100% marks. So if you're scoring less, if anything in the range, if you're scoring 23, 25, sometimes it might happen you get around 14, 15, sometimes you get 30, even 27, 26. So it's all fine, because you never know what kind of sets you might get in the paper. And with the mocks, because there are so many mocks, so there is not much bandwidth for the mocks to be created, that there are only major questions covered. So every mock or so there would be a few passages overall which you might miss. So first tip which I would give is, do not panic, especially in the last 10 days or the last week, because at this point you don't prepare. It's all about making your mindset ready for the examination, because you might have studied for 2 years, taken a drop, then again studied. But if you ruin those 2 hours which you have while you sit for the exam, which I believe is on 19th, right? So those 2 hours, these are the ones which count, not the you might show, okay, I spent these many hours. So spend this last 7 days, 10 days into building up your mindset to attend the examination. Don't be panicked. Don't be anxious. I know it's easier said than done. Everybody used to say the same to me, but still that's the only option you have. So slowly, gradually, build faith and have confidence in yourself, in your preparation, because the best and the worst thing about preparing for GKs, first, it has no end. You might go till any ends, you might pick up UPSC papers, world GK, everything. There is no end to GK. It's general knowledge for a reason. It's a whole vast sea. So stick to what News Canvas has provided. And as far as I know, or which I follow, the daily updates, events analyzed, GK shorts, monthly compilations, the MCQs, the weekly quizzes, and the last mile quizzes for the quick revision. So again, as I've said last year too, you must have all of these topics, at least the major ones, on your tips. So if just somebody mentions the heading of the PDF, it should flash in your mind. Your preparation should be of that sort. And to reach that level, I would say revise each topic at least 5 to 6 times minimum, right? And you might feel 5 to 6 times is too much, but hopefully if you have been preparing well for the last 3-4 months, you must have completed it at least twice or thrice, right? So 5-6 times is not too much. And the first time you might spend 10 minutes on a PDF. The second time you might spend 8, the next time 6. And after a while, it's just skimming through and you remember everything. You just take up the key points. That's it. So the more you revise, the lesser time it takes. So what I would suggest is, and don't keep, and leave the last 2 days just before the examination for just relaxing and calming your mind. That's it. Don't focus much on reading new material. Again, coming back to reading new material, do not make the grave mistake of picking up a new GK compendium which your friend recommends. Oh, bro, I just got this from Telegram and this GK compendium has this many topics. That's it. That's the worst thing
And
which
I
you can
believe
do.
closer to the exam, such distractions haunt you.
Exactly. Because two things which won't help you right now is taking up new stuff. Why, I would tell you, first of all, you would not be able to revise it enough. Even if you are able to revise it enough, you lose whatever you have studied earlier, right? If because you will not have the time to revise that.
True.
Right now you should not be in a situation when you give the exam and you feel, Array, I saw this question, I had read this, but I couldn't answer. So now is the time. And this is not just related to GK, but every other section too, the whole preparation. Now is the last week. What couldn't have been done in the past 1 2 years, how many years, how many months you've been preparing for, it cannot be done as a wonder in a week. So now it's the time to revise and collect and streamline whatever you have prepared, take up questions from each topic, take, and this applies to every section, but pertaining to GK, whatever you have read, if you have made handwritten notes, if you have in the PDFs thought some of the points are a bit important to you, or you might remember something your way, and what tricks you use to recollect information, just revise upon those and solve those questions which you used to get wrong. Because the best thing about GK is getting a question wrong in the mock is the best thing which you can have for you, because you learn another question that way. If you are getting all the questions right, then you don't add anything at the end of the mock.
Indeed, failures are the pillars of success, especially in GK. True, true.
Exactly. So if you are getting questions wrong, it means you learned another new question. So what I would say is, take up your previous mocks, the quizzes which were at News Canvas, and start reading them and see the questions which you left or which were wrong. Because those who, the questions which were correct, they are anyways done, the answer to them, so there's no point at this end moment taking them again. So if a question which you are getting frequently wrong, or some topic which you are getting frequently wrong, everybody has their own weak areas. Somebody, it might be dates, they get confused, October, November, 0202, 0203. Somebody is confused with names, a particular type of name, names of places, statistical information, history, geography. Everybody has their interest areas. So bring out the questions which you were attempting incorrectly or were leaving at all.
Yes.
Okay. So that is something which you should collect, because at the end days, it's general human tendency to take up stuff which you like. That's normal, because if I like a particular section, I would enjoy doing it, I would score high marks in it, and it would make me feel happy. But nevertheless, your other section remains weak. So you have to be ready to get out of your comfort zone. If you want to reach the place where you want to be, right? If you want to clear the examination, if you want to score a good mark, good in the mark range to achieve your desired college, then you have to be out of your comfort zone. Do the rigorous process of taking out the questions which you attempted incorrectly, search their answers, read on the answers explanation, and at times just don't stop and limit yourself to the answer ABCD. Just see, okay, if that is the answer, in what other way might have this question been asked?
True.
If you have read that name for the first time in your life, or if you have read about that topic for the first time, just a small quick Google search, you search a term, in milliseconds you get 10 related terms to it, and you close it.
Yes.
If you
Now, one more thing that I had in my mind, Manas. So since only 10 days or 8 days are left probably. So, the year is so vast. There are too many events to analyze and too many events to read about. But what do you suggest? Since the exam is in June, so towards the end, what is the better way to revise back from June previous year to this year, May, or just with few days in hand? Shall we just start from October on? What should be done?
No, I would say that, at least once, and I am, giving this advice for someone who has completed the whole module at least once or twice. Because at this point, if that is the bare minimum which is not done, right, then you should adopt something else. For example, you should just start reading up all the events in bulk, and you go and do your, you try your luck in the paper. Though it is usually said that, GK, a lot depends on the luck, but let me assure you, my friends, luck favors the hardworking. So you have to put in the work. right? It cannot be on pure fluke which you can guess it. It would obviously be there. You might be, lucky just because you've read that passage. And to be lucky, you have to read those passages. So keep on reading. And coming back to what ma'am asked, what I personally did, I, changed the order. So for the first months, like I started. So for example, if I followed the 14-day strategy, but let's reduce it to 7 days now. So for the first, and assuming people are covering 8 to 12 months of GK at max, mostly 8. Most important questions are from 6 to 8. Then those who are, in the 100%, they want to cover, they're covering till 12 months.
Yeah, October to May. 8 months.
October to May. So first of all, and since it's an offline paper, you don't need to cover the last 2 weeks or almost a month. And I would again say, follow firstly whatever ma'am and sir say, because they are the ones who are, engaged in this full time and devoting everything to it. And they might be up to date with whatever new information is there. So first, start from the previous months. Come to the end months. Why would I suggest this? Is because the latest months, you already read them recently.
So you have something in mind.
It's still there on the surface of your mind. Start again with the previous months. Come to the latest months. Now, for example, to do this exercise, you took 2 months a day, right? So in approximately 4 to 5 days, hopefully 4 days, you would be done with one round.
True.
Now in 4 days, you are done with one round. Now you again start this round and try to complete it in 2 days. So 4 to 6, almost 6 to 7 days are gone. So you have revised your GK again, your whole year's GK twice. So if you would have, you have essentially, doubled your preparation and doubled your chances of clearing the exam. Or at least scoring well in the
that for those 6 months, once you start revising, you also revise the daily updates and GK.
Everything included in that.
Everything in that. True.
Yeah. And as you get better, so for example, if you are done with the PDFs, if you feel that you have confident enough with the PDFs, you start reading the monthly compilations.
Yeah.
Because then you just need to remind your topic, remind your brain, because every time you think of something, all the related keywords would jump to your brain. Okay, this topic, okay, this, okay, everything would come to your mind. So after a while, it's like clicking a folder. You need not open every content, but you just, check, okay, this folder, this topic, Iran nuclear deal. Okay, you just need to know this deal happened. These were the details, 3.66, 3.67%, whatever. See, if somebody mentions Iran nuclear deal, 3.67, it automatically comes to my mind. It's been 1.5 years since I've read it, right? So that's how it should be, because after a while, they would just, click to your mind. So you need to just remind yourself of the topics. That's it.
Okay, so if I summarize one, just summarizing till here. Yeah. So one was that you stress on revising because you've done that, and for revision for someone who has only 7-8 days in hand, you suggest that if 8 months are very important, so plan it accordingly that even in those 7 days you could revise those 8 months also twice. And when you say revising, you not only say about the updates, but you also say about the monthly compilation, etc.
Everything.
And also stressing on the fact that everything is not yet dependent on luck, because it's hard work also that's important. So yes, even if there are 7 days, it doesn't matter much, because if you are hardworking, if you put your labor here in those days, and at the end when the D day is actually there, if you keep calm, composed your mind, so then also there are chances that you might do a lot better than someone who might have read a lot, but that day is very much anxious.
Exactly. And another thing in this is why I, suggest everyone to spend disproportionate time on GK. So if you are studying maybe for 8 hours a day, right? Why spending 4 to 5 hours a day out of that 8 or 10 is justified on GK? So the simple explanation is, the thing about GK is it's very simple. The more recent you have read it, the higher it is that you would recall it. So if you have read the whole course of the whole year twice in the last week, then it is highly likely, that on the 19th of the day, or whenever A-late or whenever CLAT is, it would be very easy for you to recall it. And you cannot learn English as for the CLAT examination paper in a week. You cannot, maybe you might take up a few questions and types and tricks and formulas of maths. That's fine. You cannot develop the skill of RC or logical or AR in a week. What you can do in a week is revise And maybe while you are revising, every time you revise, there you might recollect something which you have forgotten over the period. So that is why it is very necessary to devote you know disproportionate time to GK at the very end, because in the end I would even personally suggest to stop focusing on mocks just before the paper, because it's a very risky game. So I got a confidence boost from my mock because the last 2 or 3 mocks of mine, personally speaking, were very good for me. They were the best. So it gave me a moral boost. But what if it's not your lucky day? That shouldn't affect you. So just before the paper, 2 or 3 days, you should stop all of these mocks and questions. Just leave it to GK, right? Slowly and thoroughly read through everything which is there. Because GK, after a point, is the make or break section, because I would term it as the most efficient section. Around 35 questions, if there are still 35 questions, if ma'am could confirm. Yeah. So 35 questions, 7 paragraphs, or 5 to 7 paragraphs, 5 to 7 questions each, if the pattern is the same, right? So if there are 7 paragraphs, 5 questions each, let's assume, and this is for someone who has prepared GK not to the extent of covering every single thing 100%. Somebody who's given their decent time in decent preparation. You have covered a lot of the syllabus. Out of the 7 paragraphs, 5 questions, 5 paras, and out of even those 5 paras, the 5 questions for sure. Right? 4 questions, then still you secure 20 to 23 marks in GK. And that is very good, because these 23, 24, 25, and if you have done well enough, 27, 28 marks, you get in a time period of less than 10 to 15 minutes at max. 15 minutes at max. Compare this to legal section, where you have to spend so much time on a single passage. In how much time you cover 10 to 15 questions in legal, you might very easily finish up your whole GK section and be, and secure 20-25 marks. Because after a point, it's not board examinations where you have to score 99.99 whatever percentage. You just have to score the cutoff. And it's not a fixed score, 80%, 90%. It's just be at the top. So it varies. For example, this year the ALET cutoff was, I think, 101 point something. Last year, it was very much lower, I believe.
Yeah, it changes as per the difficulty level of the questions.
Don't be
Also,
disheartened.
the number of applicants.
Exactly. You need not be disheartened, because at this paper you need to come out at the top. You just have to be better than the rest. It is not necessary that you have to like in a race. If it's a 1 kilometer race, to win it, you just have to be faster than the rest. It is not necessary that you have to complete it in 1 minute, 2 minutes. That's immaterial. You just have to be the best. So on that day, if paper is very much difficult for you, and if you've prepared well, then it is bound to be difficult for everyone else, because everyone at the end is preparing from the same source. And why would I say it's the same source? Because general knowledge is coming from the same country, same topics, whatever source.
Yeah.
Because the substance remains the same. It's not something which is created out of thin air. All of these things, events which are happening in the world, it's just the medium is changed. So keep this in your mind. If the paper is bad for you, it's equally, if not even more bad for other people. It might advantage some people, it might disadvantage some people. So just keep calm throughout the paper, because if you might lose a 1 question, you might lose a 1 marker, that's it, fine. But if you stress over it for the next 2 minutes, you might end up losing one whole paragraph,
and other sections also in the exam, maybe.
Exactly. And coming to attempting the questions, I just have 2 or 3 pointers on this, and I think we'll wrap this up. Learn educated guessing, because now you have studied. There is a difference in an educated guess and a fluke. And as I've said, luck favors the hardworking. So when you,
especially with negative marking in hand, you can't randomly do things.
Exactly. Don't make flukes. And even I would come to this, and I think ma'am would disagree with this, maybe or maybe not. What I followed personally was, look at this from a very purely arithmetical point of view. You attempt 4 questions, but again, not random flukes, A, B, C, D, Jai Mata Di, not this, right? So try to make an educated guess as much as possible. Look at the options. Don't try to give into the rote learning way. Look at the question from an external point of view, from a calm mind, and look at the options. At least 2 options, you will be able to eliminate at the very easily. At the end, it's just a choice between 2 or 3 options. 1 or 2 options are eliminated like this. even if you know nothing, if you just look at the options, right? So just look at the option and assess. Look at the question, assess the options, and see which one fits the most. And then within the last 2 or 3, make your choice. And while making the choice, always trust your gut feeling. Have faith in yourself, because at the end of the day, we all have just us. We are at the end, it's just us. So you have to have confidence in yourself, because at that point in the examination room, the invigilator, the person sitting in front of you, behind you, besides you, they are not going to help you, not your mentor, not your teacher. It's just you. And if you don't have faith and confidence in yourself, you will not achieve the optimum result, at least the one which you desire, or the one which you are capable of. So just for 120 minutes out of this whole 2 year preparation, just for 120 minutes, trust in what you have studied, put trust in your judgment, put trust in your capabilities. So if you feel कि okay, मेरे को अंदर से ऐसा लग रहा है, okay, I might feel कि this is the right answer, don't overthink on this, don't be anxious on this, just mark it, because there's no end to this. A, B, and once you bubble it, you obviously cannot change the answer.
Yes.
And I believe now again the rule is the same. If you have bubbled 2 answer, it's not considered as a not defined, it's considered as a negative answer.
Yes.
Right. So rather, if you have bubbled by mistake 1 answer and you want to bubble another one, just leave it. Because if you know it's the wrong answer, it's wrong anyways. If you bubble another one, it's 100% sure short of a minus 0.25.
True.
Right. And don't be afraid to take educated risks, because let me present in front of you something, and this is an example of me and my friend. Both of us were preparing together, right? He only attempted, I think, 100 questions in that paper. And I, as far as I remember, in my CLAT examination, I attempted around 127, 130 or something. See, who are you saving or who are you leaving those questions for? Analysis में आके देखना है? नहीं ना. You are there, you prepared your whole, you put in a lot of effort and time to give that paper. So if a question is in front of you, why to skip it and just solve it? Give your best answer, and the one, if you feel you're confident about, mark it. What's there to overthink about? It's the last time you're going to give that same paper at that day, at that time. It's the last time you will be writing CLAT 2022 or ALA 2022. If the paper is there, if it's in front of you, who are you leaving those questions for? There's no point in revising those questions again. So if you have just attempted very cautiously, I have not, made any mistakes, मैं तो सिर्फ वही करके आया हूं जो मैंने सही करे हैं, and you attempt only 100 questions, and the cutoff in general is around somewhere it trends in the range of 85, 87. Then with 100 attempts, it is very difficult, that you would score 85, 86. If your accuracy is very good, then only you might score. But if you have taken educated, calculated risks, and if you have attempted around 125, 126, 127, I'm not saying attempt every single one, go crazy, do whatever you want, attempt everything. There has to be a balance to everything. Balance the risk, balance the cautiousness, and find your middle ground. Everybody has their own personal middle ground, and that's up to you. How much risk you are willing to take, and how much educated guess. And in that educated guess, how much of a fluke it is, and how much of it is really based on something which you have studied. So try to keep up with your attempts, because there was a very good line which I had read. You miss 100% of the shots which you don't take. So though there's the negative marking in this, if you didn't attempt a question, you for sure have a 0 on that question. You might have a minus 0.25, but you also have the chance to gain a point, a full whole mark.
Yeah, so first thing that you mentioned is an educated guess attempt.
Educated guess.
Yeah.
Not flukes, educated guessing. GK may only educated guessing should be there. Yes. Flukes and all, it's pure luck after a point. And some people, you might feel ki, okay, 150 random karoge, kuch to number aa hi jayenge. Take up the, CLAT sheet, scroll to the bottom, people would be there with minus 10, minus 20, minus 3, minus 4 marks. So I think after a point, it takes a lot of more skill to even get all of the answers incorrect also, right? So focus on educated guessing and look at it from this way. If you, for example, you had one set in front of you, 4 questions which you are not very sure about, you either lose all of them, right? You don't attempt any of them. That's an whole 0 there, 0 out of 4. But you attempt all 4 with educated enough of a guess, and you get 1 correct and 3 incorrect. Still, you gain 0.25.
Yeah.
These these various choices, it adds up in the end, because you have to look at this from a very external, from a
Sector.
collective point of view, because in the examination, they're not going to see what is your solely score in a GK. All they care about is your total. Some people, their English is very weak, so they cover it up in the maths, AR, and the GK section. Somebody, they are not very strong in AR, they cover it up in another section. So be, confident, take the risks, educated risk, calculated, cautious. And in order to do this, I would go back to what I said in the beginning. Don't panic, be calm, go slowly, enjoy the process, because the examination is something which after a point you should look forward to, because on that day, it ends. Something, a date, after multiple postponements, various changes, and thanks to the consortium, many and many headaches and uncertainties, right? It's coming to an end. And I wish every one of you, who's preparing for this, you give your best, you get the college which you, deserve, right? So this is the last time you have to give this examination, and never again. I would never, give again any of examination of this sort. I have enough of an experience from this one. So just,
Nice.
just calm yourself, and everyone thinks, you would feel ki, okay, this topper in your coaching, so he gets this rank, so he will score this, or she will score this, or they will score this exact same rank in the paper. Mocks are a mock, है ना? It's not the real game. The real game is the paper itself.
Yes.
Somebody who might have never made it to the scoreboard, they are in the rank list. Somebody who was always at the top, unfortunately something did not go on the end, on the day of the examination, things did not go their way. They're at the bottom. Now they're looking at other universities, unfortunately, or they might be considering a drop year. So everyone, I would say there is no topper, or there's no, I do not know anyone, at least one of my friends personally, who would say ki, okay, before the GK examination I was totally sure ki I will 100% clear this, I will get 100% marks. No one says this, because it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more you study, the less you know. At least that's how you perceive. So at the beginning you might feel ki, okay, I've read a lot, but as you start reading again, there would be a point, then again your perceived knowledge about that field would go down very much. So there's that point. So it might be going down, but still your knowledge is increasing. So if you feel ki, okay, I have not read enough, don't worry. Everybody feels that way. Nobody goes and sits into this paper with arrogance and 100% confidence. There is a slight difference between confidence and arrogance. Nobody sits there with the feeling ki, bhai, I know every single answer, I know every single thing. They can ask me whatever they want. I am too ready even for a UPSC interview right now. It does not go that way.
Yeah.
You
Manas,
give it.
now let's wrap up like 2
Yeah,
minutes
ma'am.
Maggi noodles.
I think I've overshot, but
Just like 2 minutes Maggi noodles. Last, just summarize those points so that
I think going back to the summary, just to just revise the heads, because I would say just go through this again, make your own pointers, extract. For the summary, again, do not panic, stay focused, calm, make use of the time. Panic will only waste your time and nothing else. Second, have faith, have confidence in yourself, trust your preparation. Now coming to preparation, revise. These are the 3 R's which are going, the 3 R's which save the world, 3 R's which are going to save you. Revise. That's it. Nothing else can save you. And for a detailed plan, in the next 4 days, cover this whole GK. In the next 2 days, cover the whole syllabus again. So twice you have revised, and try to emphasize on the major events. And after a while, you would also realize which events are very relevant and which events are not relevant, by seeing what is coming in the mocks or not. It's all of a game. It's all a game of educated guessing and assessment. That's it. And the do not start a new compendium. Do not talk to other people who are either negative, or who are pulling you down, or who are giving a negative effect on you. Do not let any low score in a mock affect your morale. Do not let any person ever in your life tell you ki, okay, this is not enough, this is insufficient. Parents, teachers, friends, peers, anyone in this world, only you decide what you are and what you are capable of, right? So if a person says, okay, this preparation is not enough, how will you clear with this? Let them have their opinion. You focus on yourself, you just focus on your work, focus on your preparation. That's it. Now coming back to what to do in the exam: learn educated guessing, assess, look at the question from an external point of view, think out of, think of it out of the context of examination. And since how the questions have been revised, I feel, they are much more thinking and knowledge based rather than just rote learning and statistic based. So
Very analytical, very imperative nowadays. You need to
yeah,
have in-depth knowledge, 360-degree damage.
360-degree knowledge you have to have.
Yes.
So maybe for a geopolitics question, just try to simply assess how would the pieces fit. It's not necessary that every answer is logical there. You might be able to very easily eliminate one or two options, and then it's just a 50-50 chance. Take your educated guess, and I hope you come out winning. And again, just don't skip a lot of questions. If your attempts are there, then you will score. If the attempts is less than the expected cutoff, then there is no chance of clearing it anyways, right? Who are you saving those questions for? No one. Attempt those questions. If you attempt, then only you will score. Somebody might say, that okay, if you attempt more, you might lose out on more marks, but it's not 1:1. It's not one negative marking, one positive marking. It's 0.25:1, 1:4. The ratio is that for a reason, right? So make the attempts, and just again coming back to what you have to revise: the daily updates, the events analyzed, GK shorts, the 250 MCQs, the weekly quiz, monthly quiz, and the last mile quiz. Because this end revision, right? In order, after having trust in yourself, you should always trust the source and the people and your mentors which you are following. Because for you, this might be one examination, but if they are spending a team of 4, 5, 6 people, they are putting their 100% of it. You might question, Are, yaar, how does this make sense? This is useless. But just think of it this way: if 5, 6 people are doing something as their main occupation, they must be putting some thought into it, and they're getting the desired results. People are clearing, people are coming back and saying, okay, this thing helped me. So just be humble, accept what is coming towards you, because GK in the end, study from anywhere is the same. But if you are getting it in a form of PDF, if you are having a dedicated team of people who is giving you the best of the material at the end of the month, what they feel is relevant, just accept it and work on it. Because at this point in the last week, there is not much you can do. So I believe that is all I have. If anything, ma'am, you want to add?
Nothing. I am so elated to hear it all from you. I think that's the best thing that anybody can get: knowledge from peers, knowledge from somebody who's
Absolutely
a recent experience. And I thank you so much, Manas, because for someone who has secured a double digit in CLAT, the rank was so good. We were so happy that time also, and we are so happy to have you back on board. I hope that this session, or this thing of interaction, this piece of interaction benefits one and all. And I hope we have more people like Manas who come to us and bring so much of joy and so much of knowledge at our end. Thank you, Manas. This is Riddhi from News Canvas signing off, and we would surely be back with some more interesting things on our channel of News Canvas. Thank you.